Good morning, everybody. It's a lovely May. I want to say it's the 4th. It's first Wednesday. And we pretty much are done on the seeder. I think we found one hose we need to replace. But we replaced this bearing. Now we're gonna check our tracking and make sure our tension's good on it. Then probably get into the the sprayer. You got that fan on? You turn the fan on? Okay. Almost perfect there. Those are kind of loose though. Yeah. Did you? You don't have to. They run on bushings. Yeah, it needs to go that way a hair. All right, so we've got all 3 meters rolling over. More just a formality that we check because the one was 2019. We had a bad bearing that caused us some major grief with that. So all that's left. So we're gonna crawl through and grease these. Probably tomorrow. We'll grease those. Check all of our mud scrapers. Make sure the bearings are not seized. Like that one kind of feels. And another minor thing is I need to put a switch on that light. Or probably on both of these lights, because I've stolen power from that magnetic light over there to feed the the lights inside the tanks. So I just have to do some electrical rerouting over there, which shouldn't take long. Oh, that's odd. Dad must have not put enough. Well, we're only scratching here, but there's an empty run here. But we're just double checking our GPS settings to make sure that there's no overlap or gaps. Should be. So, a foot, a foot, and then so this is their last run going this way. So this would have actually been run number 1 going this way, and then we came back and we did run number 1 again going the opposite way. They're pretty much perfect. They're might be an inch difference. I still haven't updated the RTK yet, or RTX, so we won't have sub-inch or inch accuracy, but I'm gonna do that right away. Yeah, you see that that miss that was there isn't here. So that just means that, like I said, Dad was scratching, so he didn't have all the hydraulic power on the packers. So one might not have been engaged. See, that's not good. That needs to go that way. A hair. Not much. I think it could stand to go an inch to the left. Because you got to keep in mind that by correcting it an inch to the left, the offset, we're going to open that as well. So I don't know where Dad is. Oh, he's coming around. I think we need to offset an inch that way. You think?
I know that thing you freaking try going an inch and it's...
Because you're going both sides.
Like it doubles up.
Well, it is because you're going both.
Yeah. I imagine that's pretty close.
Pardon?
Definitely going in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to back up the shank pressure. You're saying like 1,500.
Well, do you have it set too high on the versatile or on the...
Well, it really... That's supposed to control that, right?
Oh, yeah, that solenoid. I'll have to take a look. Oh, yeah. It's close.
Pretty close. More than that, it's pretty nitpicky here.
Yeah.
Well, you better prefer it a little overlap than too.
Well, then you don't have these ugly looking gaps.
Yeah, but I think you need to get on the was too.
That, yeah, true.
That's the old one. That's
yeah.
The other one.
But yeah, close. I guess you probably weren't fully on the line.
Right up there, so.
Yeah. I'll get that RTK or RTX set up. Yeah, it's damn close now that you mention it, because where it was bugging me was back there, but yeah. All right. So the birds are chirping and the grass is greening up, and well, that tractor's not getting any greener, but got the Delta track and the seeder all unfolded across the road. We were doing some scratching. Would have seen earlier we were just confirming our GPS offsets and everything were good. The problem we are having right now, and we're not sure which solenoid it is, but on the block at the very front, it does some controls to for assisting. They call it a shank assist, or so what it does is it puts extra pressure on the shanks, and it's also supposed to allow it to kick out. Now we were seeing that the chains were getting slack a lot, which means that it's not running at the right pressure. Typically that was around 1,050 is what we had on the old ones. We're thinking these ones might be a little bit higher just because they are a bit more face to them. Problem was we were having this issue last year and we could manipulate it, but we couldn't perfect it and we forgot about it. So we're dealing with it now. So we had a bit of a boo-boo, which is a shame because we haven't even started. When I sent Dad to Storth Oaks, we just had, so we replaced this guy. We just had that port plugged with a glove, and apparently the glove got pushed out and it oozed oil everywhere, and you know, Dad was gone and I was out in the yard working on other stuff. So put about 40 liters on the ground, so that's a good $200 that we'll never get back. Breakdowns and mess ups before we even get started. Alright, so Dad just kicked it in there. Kind of taking a long time. They're still kicking out. All right, morning of May the 5th. I moved the grain trailer. Having some troubles with that auger, but that's a lower priority. It won't run without pouring fuel to it, so it's probably just a gummed up carb, but it runs like a top when you give her fuel. So Dad's out there grabbing sprayer tires, so check. Got sprayer, check. We have parts bucket, check, with extension and 3/4 impact with its own line, and a pneumatic jack. So let's give her hell while Dad's organizing stuff. I love these things. Make sure we're in the right spot, which it looks like we need to come this way just a hair. Well, we got this guy pulled out of the grass, so I'm probably going to be covered in wood ticks today. It's about the time here. They might be a little late this year, but won't be very long and they're going to be here. This guy still, it starts on if you're flogging the gas to it, but I'm pretty sure the carb's gummed up because all the gas that was in it was extremely stale. So whoa, boy. There we go. Whoa, girl. Woo-ha. So I'm going to put it somewhere where I can get to it fairly easily, which is right about here. And I will deal with it a little more later. Probably hammer some sea foam to it and clean up the carb. She'll run. This is the one we use for treating seed. At the moment, Dad's just 100 yards that way. Barastas came out to service. Well, it seemed like the air conditioning wasn't working on the Delta Track. I don't know. Last time I used the Delta Track, it was heat is what I needed. So I had the heater valve open. I definitely closed it yesterday, but Dad says it's still not working. Hopefully it's nothing major, maybe just a small leak or something. So what I need to do now before he gets back is clean this friggin' windshield. It is filthy. So our way is very untechnical. Just got the forks close and we manhandle it around. Dad buggers off with it. And we do the same in reverse. I actually know this guy's got to go up some, but we are hoping. There's a guy about 30-35 miles away from here that builds the tire grapples for that you can put on an HLA adapter, which is on there. So we might go down and take a look at them here. Probably after seeding, before fungicide season. Take a guess about there. Brakes look okay. Not that they get used a ton. And we got to put the fender extenders on. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, I probably have, but I absolutely love these 710s. They go through damn near anything, and the ride on them is phenomenal. What? 380s, not so much. Bring me a fatty. Yeah. Whoa. Trip over my impact. I don't have my tripod, otherwise I'd just set it up somewhere. Unfortunately, you get the choppy version. It's almost twice the tire on that thing. All right, so we're kind of on day 3 of dealing with this, and we've pretty much narrowed it down to what we think is the problem. So, and keep in mind, it's not like we're just spending all day scratching our heads on this. We do 1 or 2 things, and then we, you know, oh, Dad runs for parts, or we got to do this, we got to do that, or, for example, Chickens is supposed to be coming by to help somebody else out tomorrow. They're going to pop in with a new part. Anyhow, so what's going on? So for the shanks tripping too early, there's another problem, and I think, well, I know they're related. So you can hear it bypassing something. And so the way this thing is supposed to work is that the shanks get held into place usually around 1,000 to 1,100 psi. And then, so that's the point of this guy. He adjusts voltage in a range from about 3 volts all the way up to 12. And that runs your allowable pressure up or down. This guy, and this was actually seized up on the other one, so that was a good thing we found. Kind of unrelated. This guy is your trip pressure, so it gives a couple 100 pounds of back pressure on the system. And then if you happen to hit a really hard spot or a rock, it allows that shank to trip. And then what it does is it bypasses it back to the K-strain. That guy there. And normally that K-strain doesn't see a ton of action if everything's set right. Well, we grabbed that. It was pretty warm. Going, that's interesting. And you can hear the hissing going on. You're like, that's interesting. And you can see the shanks still, like, we're running it up at 1,800 psi, and they're still tripping. What the hell? I'm kind of getting mad. And so, like I said, we changed out this guy, we changed out that guy. I don't think that guy had anything to do with it, but them's are the brakes. I finally got pissed off, and I said, you know what, Dad, I got a hunch. You just gotta give me some latitude here. He's like, fine, yep, go for it. I'm out of ideas. So I run to town and I get a bunch of stuff, and it ends up being the wrong size. So I go back to town and I get all the right stuff. So what I did is I took this pressure transducer out, because it was in here, and I teed it in and I put a manual gauge in, because my suspicion was that either something was out of calibration or something was reading the wrong pressure. So we try out the system. Well, it's saying up in the cab on the loop controller that it's like 1,500 psi, and down here it's only 350. What the hell, Devin says. And so we bump it up, and yeah. So something's way out of calibration, or not registering right, or I don't know what, but we've narrowed down the problem, and this makes sense to me that this guy is not reading the right pressure. In fact, I think when it thinks we're at 0, it's actually reading about 1,100 psi. So that's bothersome. But we've got a new transducer coming in the morning. We've actually got a new computer or loop controller just in case we got to reset everything, or in case it's reading something wrong. I do not expect that is the case. I'm not sure if there's a way to recalibrate it. We're going to talk to the tech when he's coming through just in case. But we have options and we're narrowing it down. So I suspect what's actually happening is this thing is, and this was hot, so it was maxed out. It's thinking that it's seeing enough pressure, and this guy is saying, oh, but your pressure's too high, you need to be bypassing. And that's what's going on. That's why nothing's locking in the way it should. So hopefully, by the end of tomorrow, this guy will be ready to go. In fact, I would say hopefully by mid-morning, whenever Paul comes through with that part, we should be good to go. But that's not been the case so far.